global tailings standard launch and how it affects you. In this session, we look at what I've labeled lies, and statistics. And one of the things in the GTS is the requirement to look at 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 year storm events or 1 in 10,000 year seismic events. And the problem that we have is that we often have a tailings facility that is in a remote area, and we only have 30 or 40 years of rainfall records, or even seismic records. So how do we generate a 1 in 10,000 year storm event? And is it a single event? Is it a weekly event? Is it a monthly, or is it a seasonal event that is actually the worst case that we need to be evaluating? And when we've got very little records, we then go and look at projections and statistics to indicate what type of storm we're dealing with and what to design for. And what can happen is that we do this analysis, and the statistical method punches out a number that says you're going to get a 1 meter storm in a semi-arid area. And based on that, your design team then goes ahead and designs the starter walls, they design the decant system and the pump arrangement and all those types of things that are part of the design for a 1 meter event, when in fact a 1 meter event may not really be a realistic case. And you need to look at the credible size storm or the credible earthquake that might actually be applicable for that particular design. So while the GTS is probably correct in saying we need to look at these large storms, and particularly for high consequence failure events, we have to be very careful about this, and we need to approach this in these cases where we've got very little information with caution. And this is where the risk-based and informed approach can come into play, where you look at the rainfall records in the area you're in and make some judgment calls together with the client and make sure that it's a reasonable approach. And do this in conjunction with reviews and reviewers and make sure that there's an agreement on what is acceptable. In this way, you can generate cost-effective designs. And this same applies for the seismic events in terms of what is the right earthquake or what is the right acceleration to apply. Otherwise, you may end up with something that's very conservatively designed, and that's not cost effective. So as an industry, yes, we need to be designing for these extreme events. We need to make sure that we're doing the things right. But beware of lies, and statistics, as these can be misleading, particularly in arid areas where storm events may be very, very localized and not necessarily widespread, which may be more applicable for tailings facilities. So I'll leave that with you to take forward in your assessments going forward for tailings dams, and use some form of risk-based and informed approach. Thank you.